What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and I'm joined with Adam Pearson, or Adam, as we're going to affectionately call him today. He's got his own YouTube channel. Go over to his channel and subscribe. He's got some absolutely monstrously massive videos, you know, talking over 100,000 views. So Adam knows what he's doing. He's up to 2.2 million views, and he's chasing 7,000 subs at a rate of knots, ain't you, mate?
You're right, Mike. Thank you for having me on. Listen, you know, I'm always a fan of coming to these podcasts. I always like hearing people's views, but listen, when I seen the opportunity, you know, I jumped on this one. But how are you, Mike? You all right?
Yeah, mate, I'm good. I'm obviously we played Leicester yesterday, and the second half performance, well, I'll just say it as it is, wasn't really up to scratch at all. It was poor, and I'm hoping that I'm hoping that we don't play the same way against you lot, to be honest. And Everton will go into the game confident. I think it's fair to say we're favourites. But, you know, we have lost to West Ham at home. We have lost to Leeds at home. We can't be complacent just because Newcastle are currently on a very bad run. You know, we can't do that. Let's get straight into Newcastle then. Obviously,
begin. I mean, it's just everything at the club is just shocking at the minute, mate. It really is. First off, it's the manager. I mean, even though Mike Ashley is a terrible owner, he literally got Steve Bruce's transfer targets in the window. You wanted Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser, Jamal Lewis. You got a lot of them, and the team's just underperforming. That team should be no any other relegation zone, in my opinion. And it's just shocking. The way we play football is not good enough. We have no possession of the ball. We constantly give away sloppy goals. We pass it towards the opposition players. I mean, everything's just terrible at the minute, Mike, really is. I can't see Newcastle get anything, but to be fair, against Leeds in the second half, we were a lot more promising since Maxim came on. There's a bit more energy at the team. Players were actually wanting to play for once, but yeah, I mean, you just got to see how these games go, really. It's an early kick-off on a Saturday, and the early kick-offs are never the favourites. They'll never happen, especially when you put your bets on, for example. But yeah, it'd be interesting one to see, that's for sure, but I can't see Everton not getting something from the game.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, I'll say from an Everton fan perspective, we expect to beat Newcastle because Newcastle are really poor at the minute. And I watched the Newcastle game against Leeds, and the first half was atrocious. It was really bad. And St. Maximin come on and changed the game. You know, you were seeing St. Maximin prepared to pick up the ball with his back to players, Ayling it was, and he just turned him constantly all game. He was turning him, running at people, causing problems. I think sometimes his distribution can be questioned. I don't know whether as Newcastle fans you agree, but I sort of thought a few times in that game maybe he could pass or put that ball into the box for a good striker like Callum Wilson to get on the end of it. Another player that really impressed me was Shah or Cher.
Yeah, sure.
Your centre half. He is fantastic. You know, and I'll sit here as an Everton fan who, at the start of the season, we were conceding some goals, and over the last few weeks, we've definitely shored that up. But he's a hell of a player. He's a ball carrying centre half who's prepared to put his arse on the line to get a result. And they're the two players out of Newcastle that I would take in a heartbeat. I think they're both exceptional players. But the issue you guys have got is, will they want to stay, especially under Steve Bruce, as you know? Fucking hell.
Yeah, I know. It'd be quite hard to keep them, especially if we get relegated. If we somehow go down this season, I can't see Sim Maximin being at this club in the Championship. It's just not going to happen. But in terms of Shaw, I think Shaw would stay, to be honest. There's just not much attraction, really. Like a couple of seasons ago, like there was a lot of sort of transfer activity around them, but it's sort of kind of quieted down the last 3 or 4 transfer windows. So, I don't know. It just depends if anyone's really after a centre half to be looking around for players. But I think Shaw will personally stay if we do go down. But yeah, it's a massive if, really. You know, it's hard to tell what's going to happen in the next few weeks or months. So I mean, we've got to get something going at some point, because otherwise we're going to be seriously knackered, to be honest.
What's your thoughts on Steve Bruce? What's your thoughts on him?
Well, as a person, you know, if I met him in the pub, I would happily buy him a pint. You know, he'd be a lovely person in real life, but as a manager, he's not good enough for the Premier League. It's as simple as that. I can come here and I can slag him off all day long, but the way he plays football, he doesn't motivate the players. I mean, who out there wants to sign for Steve Bruce? Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, Everton's got Ancelotti, of course. All the players are going to play for Ancelotti. No one wants to play for Steve Bruce. It's just ridiculous. But even in terms of the club, though, like, I mean, just the way we play football, I mean, it's just so bad. We honestly never attack. We play 5 at the back majority of the time. I mean, the midfield's shocking. The midfield doesn't get the ball anywhere. The opposition just overloads us all match long. I mean, I just don't get Steve Bruce. I really don't. I mean, we played Jacob Murphy right back last game. He's not a right back, and both the goals came from him as well. So it's just I don't know. Like, it's just stuff you yourself would like think like, well, listen, why is manager done that? Like, it's just ridiculous. It really is, mate.
It's obviously we've playing. I always find it a bit weird when Newcastle talk about the midfield and how it doesn't move the ball essentially quick enough, because it's not like you haven't got players who can make the passes. I mean, John Joe Shelvey, we all know, can pass a ball very well, and it's almost like I don't get Newcastle. I don't get the enigma that is Newcastle. I said this to Kendall a few weeks ago on the channel. I said, with that team, you should be higher up the league, irrespective of the players. That's down to Steve Bruce. How the fuck he's still got a job at that football team is beyond me. And equally, I don't think he'd have a job if the fans were there, because Ashley would have had to have sacked him at this point. But now we go on to sort of the situation that sort of looks like it's creeping its head around. Rafa Benitez does not have a club anymore. Is there a possibility that Bruce goes and Rafa comes in?
I can't see it happening personally. Benitez and Ashley just don't gel well. I don't think Benitez want to go back on that, mate. Ashley, he just says how obviously he doesn't give him the budget. He doesn't really respect him, you could say. I just can't see him going back. I reckon we'll put enough zeros on a contract, maybe come back. But I mean, I can't see Mike Ashley wanting him back, because I remember when he first left the club, he was constantly saying how Mike Ashley's let him down. You know, he's let the fan base down. I mean, he did slag the owner off quite a bit, and obviously rightfully so. But as an owner, I can't see him sacking Steve Bruce and bringing Rafa Benitez back. It's just too much money for Ashley, and he's a cheap man. He's someone I just want to spend.
It does make you think how much Steve Bruce is on as a manager, because when, you know, to go from fucking Rafa Benitez to Steve Bruce must have been a real kick in the balls for Newcastle fans. In terms of the season, then, obviously, I'll just talk about Everton briefly. Everton, I would say, are fairly happy. We have dropped points this season. You know, we are in a transition season, so it's fine me saying, you know, as an Everton fan, and I have said this, it's fine me saying we should be going to Southampton and getting a point or a win. We should be going to your place and getting a point or a win, and we shouldn't be losing to Leeds and West Ham. But these results appear to be happening in the Premier League. I mean, we saw it last night. Sheffield United, bottom of the league, go to table topping Man United and win 2-1, which no one fucking saw coming at all. So do you think Newcastle can turn this around? Like, we've seen how weird some of these results can be. Do you see yourselves putting in a performance where you do shock a few people? Because you've been capable of it before. I've seen you beat Chelsea when you weren't expected to. I've seen you steamroll Man City. I almost don't get where the Newcastle fight is anymore. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it is. I mean, obviously the results you talk about, like Chelsea or Man U, Man City, you know, all these in front of 52,000 Newcastle fans. I mean, the fans give the team an uplift, you know, it gets the opposition. It intimidates them, you could say. But yeah, in terms of this season, I can see us picking up a ridiculous result somewhere. It's just how football is, you know, there's no fans anymore, so it's literally just who plays better on the day, really. But I don't know, just the likes of Man U, you know, just the random teams, Southampton, I mean, West Ham, you know, these teams that play well. I just think somewhere we'll pick up a random 3 points and we'll get the team going. And we'll just end up beating all the crap teams. That's what I think is going to happen. I really think we're going to stay up. Admittedly, I can't see we're going to pick a result at some point, but I mean, you've seen Sheffield United, like you said yesterday, you know, I mean, we just randy beat Man U. I mean, this is a team that won one match in with 20 games or something. I mean, anything's possible in the Premier League this season, but yeah, I think we will get a lucky result at some point. I think we'll get the team going. I really think it's going to happen. It could be wrong at the end of the season, but I honestly think we'll beat a top team. We'll start beating all the lower, so half-level teams, really.
I don't think Newcastle will go down. I don't think Newcastle will go down. I think they'll probably finish about 14th. I really don't think Newcastle will go down. I think I can see them having a good period. It's my concern for Newcastle fans is Bruce, because he seems to have turned a very, I don't want to piss off any Newcastle fans, but a very passionate, aggressive fan base. Very, very behind the team. You hear it home and away, very much there. But I have noticed occasionally, maybe sometimes the fans can get on the players' back, which don't help. And I almost thought that might help Newcastle this season. Having a manager like Steve Bruce, not necessarily having the pressure of 52,000 Geordies screaming at him. I sort of thought Newcastle would sort of play okay, and be a bit more aggressive on the ball and do it for the fans that aren't there. And we just haven't seen it. The game that you played against us, we'll go back to that. Obviously, okay. You steamrolled us. You steamrolled us at your place because Everton didn't even turn up. You battered us for the best part of 91 minutes, and then we got a goal at the end to make it 2-1. But Everton were never in that game. And it's complete chalk and cheese between where you are now and when we played you 10 games ago. It's fucking mad. What's changed?
It's just sort of the mentality, really, I could say. The players just seem to have given up on the manager. The manager doesn't have a clue. And Joran just didn't care less. He's not really asked, to be honest. But in terms of Everton game last time, to be fair, he weren't missing the likes of Charles and Rodriguez. If I think those two were playing, I think he would have at least got a draw against us. There are two top-level players. But, yeah, you still can't take away from Newcastle in that game. Yeah, we were really good. I thought we were quite dominant, like you said. But since that, really, I don't know. It's just sort of I guess it's sort of like a train going. It's just sort of like come to a halt, I could say, really. I don't know. Newcastle baffles me, it really does. I sit in every week, live stream the matches. I sit there for 3 hours and just watch absolute shite. It is just so bad. It really is. But I don't know. It's just the mentality, really, mate. It really is. The players just couldn't give one anymore. And until we start getting something going, it's just not going to happen. Honestly, Steve Bruce is just, I can't stand the bloke, I really can't.
Let's go on to the game then. So we obviously play you Saturday lunchtime kickoff. It's a game that Everton must win for ambitions of top four in Europe. We have 2 games in hand on a lot of the teams above us, bar Manchester City. Everton are well in the hunt for Europe, whether that be 6th, whether that be 4th, it kind of doesn't matter because I think most Everton fans would take either, obviously. Where do you see Everton finishing this season? And don't blow smoke up our arse just because you're on an Everton channel, for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ. You go in.
I'm an honest man. I'm not going to just defend you, but I can't see he's getting top 4. I'll be real, Both the Manchesters are getting it, I fancy Leicester. I think they've been playing really well, even though obviously they weren't the best yesterday and they did get quite a lucky goal. But obviously both Manchester, just like I said, Leicester. Of course, you'd expect just the obvious ones really in there. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where everything's going to finish. I can't say top 6. I think the likes of West Ham will start dropping down a little bit. You just got to watch out for Arsenal, really. Their team that seems to be picking up good points. If they get a good run going and start beating the top level teams, I think they can get themselves in there. But both the Manchester's obviously getting it. You fancy Tottenham to get top 6. Chelsea, I don't know. It's quite a tough one to say with Chelsea. If they get something going, potentially, yeah. But I think they might just slip out with this one. But in terms of Everton, I can see he's getting top 6, maybe sneaking in at 6th, 5th, if he obviously continue to play well. But in terms of top 4, I think that's a bit too much for you this season, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's fair, and I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. I think I do not think Everton are ready for top 4. I don't think we have the squad depth. When you're losing to Corey and Allen, who are very good players, that they. Whether some people would put them as top 4 players, I don't know. I'd personally put Allen as a top 4 player. I like Decore and I rate Decore highly, but I think Allen is better. So, but when you're replacing them with players like Tom Davies and Andre Gomez. And again, I'm not slagging either of them off. Neither of them were particularly bad last night, but they're equally not as good as those two players. And they're not top 6 players, in my opinion. So if Everton want to finish in top 4, top 6, they need 2 players who could play top 4, top 6 every week available, or in and around the team. You can't, for example, Arsenal could never replace Thierry Henry with a striker that was as good as him. They could never do it, and that was why when he got injured, Arsenal really struggled. Leicester are the same without Vardy. They scored a goal from midfield last night because they didn't have a striker they could play the ball through to. They struggled in that sense. It's the same with Everton. We don't have a midfield if we don't have Allen and Decore. It's that simple. What's your score prediction for the game? Because I think it's fair to say a lot of Everton fans, and this isn't just me saying this because I don't like talking and ripping teams apart, but I genuinely think Everton will be really confident going into this game that we're going to get a decent result. But the reason for that is just how bad Newcastle are. We do get Decore back, which is a massive plus. I personally think we win 3-0.
Fair enough. Don't really fair saying that at all. Newcastle have been crap for weeks now. But on the back, that's second half performance against Leeds. If St. Maximin starts, I think the club will begin to restore confidence. I don't think it'll be enough to get anything from this game, but I think the team will play better. I think the team will, attempt to get something from the game. But in the end, I think Everton probably win 2-1, really. But it just depends, really. Yesterday, you're quite good against Leicester, but of course, I'm going to mention the goalkeeper. Yeah, but Pickford, it's a save we should be making. It's down the middle of the goal. How's he put on the goal? It's honestly ridiculous. But yeah, I'll be surprised if Olsen's not starting against us. If he's not starting, come on, he's. Just in terms of Everton, in the future, you got to get a new goalkeeper at some point. On his day, Pickford is good, but in terms of his mistakes, it's not like every keeper makes mistakes, but he makes mistakes like any keeper should save. Like, they really are bad ones he makes, but. Against the match at Newcastle, it's going to get to his head quite a bit if he does start. Newcastle, you've seen him multiple times. He's shushed you away fans. He's constantly active. He's quite emotional in the match. If he plays against Newcastle, you lose his head. It's happened multiple times. You obviously talked about last season. Turning up 94th minute, in my opinion, he literally gave away both the goals. It just gets worse and worse and worse. It really does. But I'm sorry if his mic, but
do you know what?
I was just.
Jordan Pickford is like I reckon he's got pictures of Carlo's wife or something. I don't get it. Like,
no.
Jordan Pickford, you can tell that Jordan Pickford as a technical goalkeeper is exceptional. You can tell. But he hasn't got this.
No, he doesn't.
He reminds me so much of Joe Hart, who was another player who was a very good goalkeeper in an England shirt, for example. But he always G'd himself up too much. He always overdone it. He always lost his fucking head. And he was never the goalkeeper that, for example, a top team would want. Like Pep wanted a calm head. That's why Joe Hart never stayed there, in my opinion. Yes, he weren't a ball-passing goalkeeper, but he also couldn't keep this chilled. Pickford's exactly the same. And you're right, you're spot on. Last season, I'm telling you now, you can tell I'm not a Scouser. So I travel 230 miles every home game to watch Everton when we're in the stadium, right? I travel every game. And I travelled up there, and I think it was a Wednesday night, or was it a Monday night? Either way, it was a night game. It was a night game. Travelled up there. I drove from Birmingham to London to Liverpool. 2-0. I sat there and thought, yeah, it's fucking worth it. It was worth it. It was such a fantastic performance. We had Moyes Keane playing the best game he'd had in an Everton shirt. We absolutely tore you apart for the majority of the game. And then all of a sudden, fucking Lejeune of all players comes on and completely changes the game. And I sat there and thought, I remember sitting there after the game, sitting there like, what the fuck has just happened? and yeah. Fucking hell. That was a game again. Fucking Umar Niasli losing the ball in your third. Instead of running towards a corner flag, he just fucking gives it away. Then Tom Davies can't make a tackle. And then fucking you've got Luzerne swarming overhead kicks and Jordan Pickford's catching fucking footballs while standing in his own goal. And I sat there and I was just like, what the fuck is that? And I've never really forgiven him for it. I've never really forgiven Pickford for it. And I'm sure he's a fucking lovely bloke. And I'm sure he's a great family man. You know, fucking hell, the abuse he got from Liverpool fans following the Virgil van Dijk thing was an absolute fucking shambles. I mean, his partner still puts Instagram pictures up and then fuckers still comment on it saying how, like, death threats and all that. They're vile. But this is not a game for Jordan Pickford.
No, I remember actually because it was when I think the Brad Jackson injured Salah a couple of seasons ago, and there was just loads of people just commenting death threats, saying like, "Listen, kill yourself if you this, you that." I mean, it is honestly shocking. Just obviously you seen yesterday, Man United Trans be getting loads of racist comments on Instagram because they lost to Sheffield. I mean, bigger things in football sometimes. It's just absolutely disgraceful. It really is.
Honestly, it's a joke. So what's your Newcastle team then? Who's going to fucking pry? That's the question. Who's going to hurt us?
Well, surely St. Maximin's going to start their performance against Leeds. I mean, game changer. The team actually started playing when he came on. So he's got to start. The obvious players, you like Callum Wilson, you know, the players got to leave out, like Shaw, Darlow, you need obviously the big key players being there. In terms of the right back, Murphy definitely dropped. He gave away both the Leeds goals. For me, Yedlin's already went to Galatasaray, so for me that's a bad business because we're bringing a new right back, so why sell a right back if we not bring one in? So I imagine Mankiel will start that one for Newcastle. Left hand side again be Jamal Lewis, even though he's had a bit of a bad season. Centre half to be the same. I imagine Newcastle will play five back once again. Midfielders, I imagine Shelby will play. Hendrick, I think will play. I think he wasn't too bad last game, but it's just been your obvious team. Really. It's the same as most weeks, but you put one or two extra players in just to try and spice the team up.
Okay. Well, Everton, I don't quite know how Everton will line up, so I'm going to go with what I would line up, and I'll explain why. I'll go with Robin Olsen in goal. I'll go with Luca Digne at left back. I'll go Keane and Mina in centre defence. I'll go Mason Holgate at right back. I'll go into midfield. I'll bring Ben Godfrey into midfield. Or Holgate. I'll play, either one of them can play midfield, so I'll stick one of them in there alongside Decore and Andre Gomez. And then my front three is, as you would probably expect, Richarlison, James Rodriguez and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And I'll just explain my team. St. Maximin is a player that can get in behind Everton. And Everton have been really good strength defensively when they've played a flat back four. They've been really strong. They've been good. You haven't been able to break us down. Like teams haven't been able to break us down. St. Maximin won't be able to do that if we play a flat line at the back because he everything he does will have to be in front of us. And I can't see although he's got it in his locker, I can't see him scoring from 35 yards, for example, or scoring from 30 yards. I know he's got it in his locker, but I can't see him doing it. Luca Digne doesn't play the side that St. Maximin does. So I'll play Luca Digne because he will overlap for players like Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and James Rodriguez will be able to find that ball. But while he's doing that, Ben Godfrey can come out of our midfield and slot into left back to cover. So I sort of change the dynamic of the team as we transition. I'm someone who's very tactical the way I think I've done a few manager courses. It's very pathetic, but so for me, Everton line up 4-3-3, but we transition into a 4-4-2 when we're, defending, because it just allows us to have a little bit more stability in midfield. I think Calvert-Lewin will score because I think James Rodriguez and Luca Digne will manage to crack your back four or back five. I think he will score. But it's gonna be a tough game. If Everton score first, I think it could be a long afternoon for Newcastle. But if Newcastle go 30, 35 minutes into the game without conceding a goal, then Everton are going to have a few problems. So we've got to hope we score first, and we've got to score early, in my opinion. Last thing, and this is about yourself, obviously your channel. Where do people find it? What do we do? What do we talk about? What, anything special on there we should all go and watch?
Well, pretty much my channel is just Mike, but Newcastle related, really. Of course, every single Newcastle game, I always do live streams. But I still always do Newcastle reaction videos, stuff like that. In terms of previews and reaction videos, I don't do too many of them, but I probably will start them off, to be fair. Of course, Mike, if you want to come on at any point, I'm happy to have you on for a preview. But in terms of me, just literally just typing Adam Pierce and I'll come straight away. In terms of our videos, I react to quite a few things. There are big things happening in the football world. I always like reacting to hear what people have got to say about it. But I'm just someone that really just is quite open. I'm honest. I talk about things that are obviously my concerns. Some people stuff about the club, But in terms of Newcastle, just mainly just signings, reactions, live streams, etc. Really, just plenty of stuff without Newcastle United related. But I've got a few Everton vlogs on that, to be fair, if anyone wants to go back and rewatch them. But yeah, to be fair, most of the time for Everton, it didn't go too well. But I was there when Field World Cup people won now, so you got that one. I suppose you want to watch that one back.
So was I. I. Jesus Christ, Sam Allardyce as manager. Fucking hell. I'll never forget it. He picks up the ball from a goal kick and he carries it 30 yards. He goes past whoever your centre back is and just slots it in. And I was sitting behind that goal at a time, really close to it, and I remember sitting there going, "We're winning 1-0, but that is the shittest football I've ever seen in my life."
I missed him. I was in the toilet for the World Cup goal. I was literally one time at the toilet the full match. I missed the goal. But I mean, in terms of Goodison Park, I went last season. I mean, again, Newcastle fans literally left the ground like the 90 minutes to try and get back to the coaches early and they just missed 2 goals. I mean, it's just stupid, honestly. No one in the wildest of dreams seen that one coming. It's just mental football. Honestly, I still can't get over it. It was so funny, like it really was.
I remember because I was sitting by the Newcastle fans and they were giving Pickford some shit. So I was giving Newcastle fans some shit.
Of course.
And where I was sitting in, we call it the paddock, which is like the first 15 rows of the stadium, essentially. And I was sitting in the second rowing, and on some of the Newcastle videos, like some of the videos I've seen, like from that vlog from the game, you can see me having a right go at them. And at the end of the game, I remember sitting there looking over at the Newcastle fans while they're all absolutely ripping the shit out of me. And I stood. And actually, do you know what was hilarious? Two Newcastle fans after that game walked out as I was doing my match reaction from outside the ground and come and give me a cuddle.
Did I?
Genuinely, they come and give me a cuddle. And I remember standing there, just going, "You're having a fucking laugh. That's just happened. I've just been pitied by 2 blokes I've ripped the shit out of for 94 minutes. Unbelievable." So, well, Adam, thank you ever so much for coming on the channel, mate. I really appreciate it. We will sort out another video. It would, depending on how the game goes. No, not even necessarily depending, but you're more than welcome to come back after the game on Sunday if you like and do sort of a match reaction with me. And yeah, good luck for the rest of the season, but I do hope you lose on Saturday against Everton.
Same goes Everton, good luck. But appreciate having me on. Like I said, I have to come back on Sunday. But yeah, take care, man. I love doing these sort of things. It's always great enjoyment hearing all people's thoughts. But I appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
No worries. And guys, just so you know, the link for Adam's channel is in the description below. So go over, go and subscribe. He is 240 something away from 7,000. So look, if we can help him get to that would be great, wouldn't it? Or something like that. If we can do something, let's fucking do it. Yeah, let's do it. Guys, I'll leave you there. Peace.